YouTube, today I've got a weird video for you. It was sent to me by someone with COVID who I don't think was thinking straight. What happened was they sent it to me and said, hey, you're gonna like this video, it'd be really interesting for you and your community, without telling me that they thought I wouldn't agree with the central thesis and that I would think it was just wild and out there. And so maybe you see me start this stream thinking, oh yeah, this is a good video, but you will realize halfway through, like I did, that it wasn't aligned with my beliefs, and hopefully you can go through this whole wild thing with me. I hope you like it. If you do, maybe subscribe to the channel. And if not, hey, we'll get you next video. Enjoy. Good video. Time to move on to our next one, and this one has at least double, actually infinitely more, because there were 0 fedoras in that last one, unless we assume that the narrator was wearing one, which I always do. So this one has the same, if not more, fedoras. It's called The Tragic Tale of Reddit.
Reddit moderators are destroying the entire internet.
This guy got banned. This guy straight up got banned.
You know, a Reddit moderator is a lot like a teacher's pet at school. The teacher's pet was that guy we all knew who felt superior to the rest. The guy who'd boss everyone around. The guy who'd tattle on everyone for breaking insignificant rules. Reddit moderators moderate Reddit for free, with their only compensation being the illusion of authority.
Do you think a Destiny GG'er made this? I often wear pants, thank you for the tier 1.
These powerless and deeply troubled people look to exert power in any way they can.
Ooh, your account's only a year old. You only had one cake day. You can't post here.
They're the same types of people who become abusive police officers, but
what am I watching? Am I gonna get red-pilled?
how did 92 of the top 500 subreddits fall into the hands of 6 power-hungry mods? Well, the answer to these questions goes a lot deeper than I initially expected, because to understand the Reddit mod, you need to understand Reddit. You need to understand where it all went wrong, because somewhere, somehow, Reddit turned into everything it swore to destroy. The story begins in the dorm rooms of the University of Virginia. Co-founder of Reddit, Steve Huffman, otherwise known as Spez, was your typical nerdy character. He was that Zuckerberg type, geeky,
Is he married to Serena Williams? Is that insane? Isn't someone from Reddit married to Serena Williams?
computery, smart, and power-hungry, and unbeknownst to him, Spez's perfect match was just across the dorm. It wouldn't take long for Spez to realize Alexis was really just a charming version of himself, and over the following years, Alexis and
Charming version of himself? Damn, what a burn.
Spez would become close friends.
One of the ideas I had was for ordering food from your cell phone. I had told Alexis this idea once. He's like, we should totally build it.
However, the idea was simply too far ahead of its time. After the pitch failed to gain enough financial support, the two would begin working on a new idea. During this time, internet culture was in its infancy. Internet memes were only just beginning to crop up here and there, and Spez and Alexis caught on to this. They could tell that internet culture wasn't going anywhere soon.
I knew that Reddit mods were going to be the worst scourge since, what did he say, the Gestapo? Which is why in college, when I wanted to kill time, I used a website called Stumble Upon, which shows you how old I am.
Their idea was to create a site that would be the front page of the internet. This would later become the adopted slogan of the website, but for now, the slogan was initially called SNU. The intention behind SNU was for people to ask what's new, although it wouldn't take long for them to realize the domain name was already taken, so a few other domain ideas were considered.
Damn, they were close to being called snoo.com.
Uberloo, 360 Scope, Hot Snoo, Ripe Fresh, Dose, and numerous others. But eventually, the name Reddit was suggested by Alexis. And much like SNU, Reddit was a mix of the words Reddit, as in, I read it on Reddit. After receiving funding from angel investors, Reddit was released on the 23rd of June, 2005.
Alexis and I started submitting all the content just to keep the thing full, right? Because Reddit's no fun if the page is blank.
We would come up with a post and a random username to give the impression that the site had more people on it.
The Reddit team would expand not long after, and in November 2005, Reddit merged with competitor site Infogamy. The merging of Infogamy and Reddit would bring Reddit a new co-founder, a co-founder named Aaron Swartz. This was a pivotal moment for Reddit. Aaron Swartz becoming co-founder was the final piece of the jigsaw for Reddit's success. You see, Aaron was a computing prodigy. By the age of 13, Aaron had already created the site Info Network, a site serving as a user-generated encyclopedia. So it would seem that Aaron was the perfect guy to serve as a Reddit co-founder, and this was true.
There's actually no viewers in this channel. It's just me on all my alt accounts. If you think you're a viewer, you're actually just an AI I built, and I'm sorry that I'm tumbling the walls down around you.
Aaron's view of the world differed greatly to Spez's. Aaron viewed the internet as a tool to hold governments and corporations.
You see that?
Aaron's view of the world differed
That's
greatly
us.
to Spez's.
Or sorry, that's me and all my AIs.
Aaron viewed the internet as a tool to hold governments and corporations accountable. He thought the internet could be the ultimate tool for free speech, where anyone, anywhere could express their opinions freely. Aaron thought that information needs to be free, open, and unregulated. Although the same thing couldn't be said for Spez. Spez viewed the internet as an opportunity for business. This was the dividing line between Aaron and Spez.
Dirty capitalism.
And in a way, it was this divide that would shape the internet as we know today. In 2005, the internet was still seen as something nerdy. This was a time 2 years before the release of the first iPhone.
And we are calling it iPhone.
Anything could happen to take back power to themselves. And Aaron saw Reddit as
Hey, there it is, the Wolf on Wall Street clip. You gotta have one in a video.
we weren't part of.
That's why my channel's not growing fast enough. Not enough Wolf on Wall Street clips.
Aaron hated the corporate world and was motivated to do everything he could for free speech. And at the
that?
time, Aaron wasn't alone. In fact, co-founder Alexis could also see the importance of free speech. To Alexis, free speech was a right that must be protected. This is why
Dude, did
Alexis
Alexis actually make out the best of all of them? Because people hate Spez, and I mean, unfortunately, we know what happened to Aaron.
actually joined Aaron in his campaign against Congress's Stop Online Piracy Act. Alexis even went so far as to launch the National Anti-SOPA protests. By late 2006, Reddit was taking off. The combination of Spez, Alexis, and Aaron would prove to be a hugely successful business move, and people were noticing. In October 2006, Reddit was sold to Condé Nast Publications. Condé Nast Publications is a
Wait, don't they do the food thing that was racist?
mass media company known for being the owners of Wired magazine. At the
Wow.
time, Reddit was sold for a reported $10 to $20 million. With the acquisition of Reddit, the team moved off to San
The food people. Yeah, Bon App, exactly. Aren't they owned by Condé Nast as well?
Francisco. But for Aaron Schwartz, this was where things would start to go downhill. In the month after the acquisition, Aaron began to complain about the corporate influence over Reddit. Aaron
Wired is a
claimed
cool website.
Wired has tried to make the offices look exciting by painting the walls pink, but the grey office monotony sneaks through all the same. Grey walls, grey desks, grey noise. The first day I showed up here, I simply couldn't take it. By lunchtime, I'd literally locked myself in the bathroom stall and started crying. Aaron's thoughts on Reddit's takeover, along with a burning belief in free speech, meant the inevitable would happen. Aaron Schwartz was fired from Reddit in January 2007. Aaron used the money from Reddit and his knowledge on computing to embark on political action. On September the 25th, 2010, Aaron downloaded the whole Westlaw legal database in a project with Stanford law students. The goal was to uncover the connections between the funders of legal research and the legal system itself. What Aaron found was incredibly disturbing. Aaron discovered that law professors in Stanford were receiving lobbying money from companies like ExxonMobil during oil spills.
Crazy, huh?
Following these actions, the FBI would begin to track Aaron's activity. Unaware he was being investigated, Aaron continued campaigning for free speech and political transparency.
And so, yeah, it's true. Sites like WikiLeaks are going to be putting up some embarrassing material about what the US government does, and people are going to be organizing to protest about it and try and change their government. You know, and that's a good thing. That's what all these First Amendment rights of free expression, of freedom of association are all about. And so the notion that we should try and shut those down, I think, just goes against very basic American principles.
3 months after the speech, Aaron was arrested following an indictment by federal prosecutors. Aaron's indictment contained charges of 50 years in prison and a $1 million fine. However, these charges were harsh for a reason. In 2012, the US government wanted to make an example of people breaking into confidential files. And with the US government's failure to extradite Julian Assange, Aaron Schwartz knew he was going to face the brunt of government power. There was no way the government was letting another WikiLeaks situation happen again. Aaron knew things were bad. Very, very bad. Aaron had been cornered into a trap, and after 5 months of his arrest, Aaron Schwartz committed suicide.
Damn. Where do the mods come in? Am I lost?
Up until now, the internet had always been free of censorship. Censorship was only really used for legal purposes to keep the internet somewhat civilized, and Reddit moderators did as they were meant to, filtering out spam, abuse, and managing small online communities. But all of this would change in 2014. You see, in the years after the co-founders left Reddit, Reddit was undergoing huge development. Reddit had tripled its page views, and in 2011, Reddit had gained 1 billion page views a month. Then in January 2012, Reddit doubled its page views again, gaining 2 billion views a month. There was no stop in sight, and by 2013, Reddit was
If you thought this guy wasn't going to use a Joker clip, then you're the Joker here.
Reddit would be slandered for being a sexist platform. For example, the Huffington Post claimed that Reddit was sexist purely for being a male-dominated site. The claims of
I'm worried about this video.
Reddit being sexist got so bad that co-founder Alexis pleaded Reddit users to, quote, cool it with the sexist comments.
Cool it. Isn't that what the one guy, the Twitch stream said? Hey, tell people to cool it.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
The first steps towards Reddit's change would come with Ellen Powell's appointment as CEO of Reddit. In the lead up to Powell being CEO, Powell had gained notoriety in Silicon Valley, most famously for her gender discrimination lawsuit, where she sued the venture capital firm Kleiner Perkins for what she perceived to be sexist business practices. And whilst the lawsuit was unsuccessful, the media rallied behind her as a feminist saint. She was the perfect shield for Reddit, so Reddit employed her as CEO of the company in 2014.
Is it insane to think that someone had seen the dark side of sexism in venture capital might be a good person to get for your company when you run a website that has problems with sexism?
Reddit was no longer a platform for free speech. The announcement came after numerous subreddits were banned by Reddit, but this time it wasn't for legal reasons, it was to escape the bad reputation Reddit was gaining from the consequences of free speech. A complete U-turn.
This all feels like, hey, Reddit's trying to improve their website and the culture around it, and this guy is like, Ree!
When you know something is right, you should choose to do it. But as much as possible, we will not force you to do it. However, these claims were just as hollow as Reddit's moderator guidelines. And when I talk about
I actually think the B-roll for this video is absolute juice, though, to be fair.
Reddit's moderator,
it's just scenes from Breaking Bad and The Dark Knight.
and so in October 2014, the first major Powell mod was born, a mod known as GalloBoob. GalloBoob is the digital representation of Reddit's new era. GalloBoob is a mod with over 36 million karma. He's termed a power mod for his vast control of the top subreddits, controlling huge subreddits like R Oddly Satisfying.
Oh, thank God. It's so important that we control R Oddly Satisfying.
This was the new era of Reddit, where those criticizing the power structure would be threatened with banishment. In the words of Ellen Powell, Reddit was no longer a bastion of free speech. But again, in 2014, this was just the tip of the iceberg.
Imagine being Reddit and you have a bunch of people on your website that are using it to distribute literal child pornography. And you go, we've got to get rid of this. And you have a group of people going,
You see, in theory, Reddit's moderator guidelines require
What?
volunteers not to use a breach of one set of community rules to ban a
What?
user from another community. Moderator tyranny in the last few years has gotten to an all-time high, with this model of censorship spreading across the internet like wildfire. But for now, in 2014, power mods were only just beginning to rear their ugly head. The most hated person on Reddit wasn't GalloBoob or Awkward the Turtle, the real hatred was for the CEO, Ellen Powell. Reddit at the time still cared about free speech and internet censorship, because these ideas were at the core of
I met Ellen once. She was very nice.
because Ellen Powell wasn't anywhere near
What am I looking at here? Oh my God.
as authoritarian as the person who would replace her. Spez. Next, Spez would introduce the quarantine, which
Yeah,
was an
Spez
effective tool
changing
to
the comment
silence
on the Donald was actually the most brain dead thing I could imagine a CEO doing.
communities that didn't
Actually, absolutely brain dead.
break any rules. Spez would use the quarantine to discredit content that Spez didn't like. And when I say Spez would censor content that he didn't personally like, I mean it was content that Spez personally didn't like. Infamously, Spez went into Reddit's database to alter
This is the one.
and change comments he didn't like to distort posts in the R. Donald subreddit. Of course,
He changed. One person wrote "fuck Spez, he sucks," and he changed it to like "I like poopy diapers," which is very funny if you're not the CEO of the company. What is Reddit's downfall? Maybe I'm not understanding his thesis. Thank you. Like Reddit, the tragic tale of Reddit. That Reddit is dead. Isn't Reddit huge, massive, juicy? Isn't Reddit still getting a ton of page views and people like it and use it to find content? I feel like I don't believe his premise, and then I'm listening to his arguments and also not understanding how they relate to it.
I mentioned earlier that these Reddit mods are like teachers' pets, with their only compensation being power. But this isn't the full story. You see, in order to run hundreds and thousands of subreddits, it takes a ridiculous amount of time that just isn't available to you if you're working or being a normal human being in society.
We live in a society.
Unless you're being paid for this time. Power mod GalloBoob, for example, has been caught several times taking money from companies to shill their products on Reddit. One of these cases was with GalloBoob advertising for Netflix on the subreddit Hail Corporate. When people on the subreddit began to call him out on it, he would remove every single critical comment. The Gallo boobs of Reddit are like the Cambridge Analytica for corporations. These mods have influence over millions and unrivaled power on the website.
I take all my orders from Gallo Boob.
I mentioned in my last video on Reddit that Reddit was being manipulated.
This isn't his first video about why Reddit is bad. I thought shame on you, but truthfully, this is shame on me.
And every time Redditors brought up the fact that Hillary Clinton received more money from the arms and weapons industry than any other candidate in history, these posts would be downvoted into oblivion. That's why you see posts criticizing Black Lives
Do you think that was Reddit, or do you think that was people who really wanted Hillary to win?
Matter being banned, whereas pro-Black Lives Matter posts gained thousands of karma. It's why showing just some...
Well, I'm sorry, was he surprised that Hillary Clinton is a gun runner got downvoted while Black Lives Matter got upvoted? And did he call it propaganda?
Showing just some of the damage done by Black Lives Matter to ordinary people is removed. It's why just upvoting some posts on the site will get you banished from Reddit. It's why Reddit turns a blind eye to moderator.
The stock image of a man counting money.
Now, Reddit users are afraid that their beloved platform, known for uncensored free speech, is going to get censored to meet the demands of the Chinese Communist Party. See, Tencent has a history of censoring things the CCP doesn't like. Its Chinese platforms QQ and WeChat are both heavily censored, and they work with
What kind of scuff news set is it? If you told me that wasn't a YouTube video, I would say you're lying. You know what I mean? That's not a real news set. This guy is trying to convince us that Reddit is the devil and mods are subhuman.
But what if Reddit's fall isn't just endemic to Reddit? Reddit has been the catalyst for a wave of censorship across the internet. The model of power-hungry moderators, out-of-control tech leaders like Spares and...
I watched this video because this was the opening shot and I thought it was going to be ironic.
The internet.
Wait, hold on. This one. Tell me you see this and you don't think it's going to be the funniest video you've ever seen. It's a fedora.
The worst part of all is that Reddit moderators could have stopped this. They were the only people who had the power to do this. They could have shown that social media companies can't get away with the erosion of free speech. Reddit moderators showed that they had this power to change Reddit in 2015. In July of 2015, Reddit began experiencing a series of blackouts as moderators set popular subreddit communities to private. This was done in protest of the recent firing of Victoria Taylor. This Reddit moderator blackout ended up being highly successful and was one of the main reasons why Ellen Pao stepped down as CEO. So if moderators could do it back then, why not now? Well, because it doesn't fit into their tribe. It goes against the grain of their ideology. They don't want to be labeled controversial or conservative or lose any of that lucrative money shilling products from Reddit grants them. Instead, the moderators of Reddit are compliant to censor anti-China posts in exchange for power and money. To receive Chinese funding means you could double your company's valuation in a ridiculously short time frame. The only cost this comes with is the fabric of Western civilization.
What?
The only cost this comes with is the fabric of Western civilization. The United States, a country which understood the importance of freedom of speech. The founding fathers knew this because they understood human nature. They understand what had happened in the past when free speech was stifled. They knew the dangers of censoring. But now we see the people who are willing to give all of that up for power and greed. This is what makes the fall of...
The worst thing in the world, chat. Community guidelines. Hey, we'd love if you weren't sexist. Please don't say the N-word. And all those videos where people are dying and, the child pornography, maybe we get rid of that too. Man, there's so many interesting, poignant, thought-provoking arguments for and against private companies like Reddit controlling discourse online. And this video doesn't highlight a single one of them.